Well, hello everyone. Welcome to today's status chat. We're going to run through it quick because I get a little bit of feedback that sometimes just give me the high spots works a little bit better than the explicated version where we try to kind of unpack some things. So here we are, feeling a little blue with my little red sky. Now, whether or not this is a red sky in the morning, sailor's warning, or a red sky at night, sailor's delight, depends on which direction my house pointed when I took that photograph. So anyway, that's actually west. So that would be, I guess, setting. So it would be a delight. So anyway, let's get to today's bit. I think if I've got my my notes on the other panel, NFIB optimism index. Okay, so we've got the Federal Reserve Bank here in Philadelphia. This is the manufacturing index, and let's see what it says. I like things graphical, simply because, you know, I'm not much on the music. I'm not musical spatial or whatever, musical lyrical, I guess is graphical spatial. I am this way. So we know that the gold is the future. It's the prediction based upon the current. And what we see here, we do see a little bit of opposite direction. Sometimes they track together, sometimes they don't. But we see we had a big jump in current business activity. We jumped up from here. It was down 4% in this cycle, and it's up here a little bit more in that one. I'd say about twice that, which is C. So it's just volatile. So there's really not a big change. But anyway, if you're looking on the margin and somebody tells you, oh, we've had a big change because it rose to 41%, like I have highlighted here, oh no, that sounds terrible. But it's really not that bad when you look at where it was overall. And of course, we have been much worse back here when we were in the COVID. So we also see future general business activity diffusion index declined to 34. See, this is just an index. It's not really real numbers. It's just sort of to give you that thing. And if we stretch this out down here at the bottom to give us some perspective, what do we see? We see a lot worse cases back here in these past recessionary areas. And we see that the gold was peaking before it fell, right? Before we hit the recession. Gold was peaking, and then of course it fell. Gold was peaking, and then of course it fell. So if we then go back into the future to just kind of get a trend for it, pull that forward, we're coming down. And we don't have a recession anywhere back here. So I don't think this is necessarily a big bad boogeyman that we need to work on. So that's the Philadelphia Reserve Bank and the Federal Reserve System up there. NHAB is another one I want to look at here. This one, when was NHAB put out? We got the PPI. We're going to do the PPI. I don't think so. Philadelphia came out yesterday. Go back, producer price index. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to read it to you. Let me go ahead and pull myself back up big screen. The core PPI went it was a 0.8 last time. It was expected to be 0.3 and we were only 0.1. So the core was actually better on the PPI than we were expecting. The producer price index itself, we were 0.6. Previously, we were expecting 0. We actually went down by 0 or 0.3. So that's actually looking good. That's a future indicator because it's producer versus the CPI. CPI, of course, that was out Wednesday and Tuesday. Day before that, we had the CPI. CPI was 4.2 before. We were expecting 3.8. It was actually less than that, 3.5%. And of course, if we go back to the whole thing, not just the year-over-year, but the consumer, we went from 0.5 to 0.2, and we were actually 0.4 negative. So we're actually doing better with inflation, looks like, according to the reports here, my little notes. And let's get back to our home builder. Okay, NAHB, National Association of Home Builders, housing market index. They're going to be a little bit more negatory on us here, and we will probably keep our positivity up, because we're just happy people here in the hollow. The NAHB, Wells Fargo Housing Index, the HMI, designed to gauge and track the pulse of the single-family housing market. The HMI is based upon a monthly survey of family home builders, single-family home builders. These could be corporate as well as private home builders. They're just building the single-family homes, not the big apartment complexes. So, the present single sales of new single-family homes, we see they actually came down. We see expected home sales of single over the next 6 months. They also came down. Traffic to prospective buyers, we kind of come back. So July, here we are in the index for July. We see that current sales conditions fell 1 point to 37. Sales expectation over the next 6 months dropped to 42 points to 43. And the traffic prospective buyers posted a 2-point decline. So it's showing down. Oh, let me get out my bottle of brown liquor and see if I can't drink myself in the face of this terrible projection, right? 37 to 35, 32 came down, the 62 up slightly from 63. So the sales incentives was 63% July, up slightly from 62. So incentives, does that mean a bad thing? No, I think it actually means a good thing. And I'll show you my next one, which is probably going to be my last one. I may have a third one in here. So the use of sales incentives, which if you're on the builder, you might say, well, that's bad. I'm having to incentivize. But if we're incentivizing, is that not maybe a gooder thing for the home buyer, the prospective home buyer, a gooder thing? Because this is a home builder, so we're looking at new homes, not existing. We'll get to existing, but so that's looking like it's more gooder. Okay, let's go see what's kind of tripping these people, why they be tripping. All right, let's go to where we at Kitco. Right, disappointing U.S. pending home sales, unable to push gold prices higher. Oh, well, gold is really supposed to be a store of value, not really an investment, although depending on your conservative radio station, they may have you convinced otherwise. But it's just supposed to be because it's a commodity and, we don't really change a lot of it. Alchemy that they've been doing since the 1500s hasn't worked out. We haven't been able to create more gold. So anyway, what it's going to say here is Kitco News. The gold market continues to struggle to hold critical support at $4,000 an ounce. Dude, I can remember when it was $1,700 an ounce. That's how old I am. I swear I can remember that number. I didn't have any at that time, but I swear I remember 17 sticks in my head. All right, so it's looked at as a safe haven. Is it though? Right. Here's the bad news that's driving the people if they are, trying to work on the margin instead of the long haul. If they're trying to do that day trade kind of thing. U.S. pending home sales dropped 5.4% in June. Okay, well, we're in July now. NAR announced Thursday the data came significantly weaker than expected, as economic had forecast a 0.5% decline. So they were expecting a half. They were surprised. 5.4, almost 5 points more than that over the past 12 months. It's down 0.3 points. So still not making me all that concerned. Here they always blame it on the mortgage rates, right? Not the overprice, not being oversold or overpriced, but it's always mortgage rates because we like to blame something. Chief economist Dr. Lawrence Yun, boy, he has been a negative Nate since I've been tracking this stuff. All right, so what was the dateline on this? Was July 16. And it is July 17. So they're still a month behind. Even the freshest bread was overdue. How about that? Let's look at this one here. Ace Schiller. Let's look at this big chart here because I like this. If I'm thinking about being a buyer, I'm kind of liking this. Remember, we were jumping up. And then, of course, we kind of got sort of straightened out a little bit. And now we're seeing a decline in the composite there of 60. These are the big 20, I think they are. Went down a little bit. So, but it's not a big percentage change, is it? No. And we're at Mortgage News Daily for that. So to me, I'm not hitting the panic button yet. it looks like we're just kind of doing a little bit of a moderation here. I mean, look at it. This is good in my mind. Let me zoom that in there full screen, the center panel full screen. And look what was happening. We were done crazy back here in the cheap, easy money. And then inflation kind of hit and they brought it up. Well, look what we've done since 2020, really. We've begun to kind of level off. We were rising up. And now, look, 24 to 25, we're leveling off. So, I think that's good news. Maybe I'm misreading it. See, if you got the buyer's mindset or you got the seller's mindset, you always think of it as being fighting against each other. But you're not. If you're a buyer, you're fighting and competing against other buyers. Because those are the ones that are pitching themselves to the seller, take us. So you're actually trying to cooperate. You would like to be the most cooperative group, the buyer and the seller together. You want to feel like this is like a marriage made in heaven, and we're going to get together and we're not going to fight, and we're going to make life better for both of us. I got something I want to sell and I got something I want to buy. Let's get them together. So the person that's competing against the seller are other sellers, and it takes a moment every now and then. Good to remember this. So we're just shifting maybe a little bit about who has the leverage. It looks like we're really kind of steadying out over the last 2 years, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's dissuaded me. Let me go back to the mortgage news data rates. Let's hit our 30 years. Let me bring it up, and I'll switch screens. Here we are. There we are. Here's our 30-year treasury yields. All right. Look like we're steady there. No big deal over the last year. We can take it back to Crazy Town if you want. Let's see if we can't find the mortgage rate for 30 years, because I think Freddie Mac went up a little bit this go around. Where is my rates? I want my rates. Hold on. There we go. As you can tell, I may not be live, and I'm certainly not Memorex, but there we go. Everybody wants to pretend like this little section, since this last little bit is the worst thing that ever happened, but it's really not. Going back here, if you were really counting on it down here, down in these rates around 6%, it really looks bad. But remember, this is stacked up. This is 6 to 6.8. This is 1 percentage point fluctuation, which accentuates how bad this looks. But look at this. I've seen some of my friends here on the social media. Let's look at Freddie Mac. Freddie Mac, let's put that in and take the other two out. Freddie Mac looks like it had a huge rate jump, doesn't it? But it's really not that bad. Let me just make that bigger so you can see it better on a small screen. Look at that. It just went up a little bit from 6.43 to 6.55, and yet I've seen some of my cohorts out here, my friends in the lending business, say, rates are going up. Better jump on it. They're probably not going to go down. They're probably not. But look, it's pretty steady since May, June, July. That's 3 months. That's a quarter. But let's say we put these back and we go back to, let's do the 5 year, right? We're still down. Yeah, I know that in the same process about the big Bidenomics working, we had the huge inflation, which made the houses nearly impossible for some people to get on that housing ladder to buy. But we were having a program that I think Trump was going to kick in, was due to be passed this week. Well, not really passed. He just did. If he didn't veto it, it went into. And that's supposed to help maybe keep some of the Blackstones out of the buying business. It would help, to be quite honest, if investors weren't competing against individuals, but I don't set the market. I don't control that. So maybe that will yield some results as time goes on. But again, the mortgage rates don't look as scary as my 5 a.m. doom scrolling Facebook post would have me believe, or have you believe if you happen to get the same people. All right, that's it. We'll see you next week.